Hello, folks. Welcome to Holding On with Holder, where I talk to interesting people about interesting topics. My name is Steve Holder, and I am your host. My guest this evening is Tiffany Werhner, who is a mental health coach, radio show hostess, and author. Welcome. Thanks for being my guest, Tiffany.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and I appreciate your time
All
and
right.
support.
So tell us a little bit about you. How would you describe yourself? Who are you?
Well, I'm Tiffany Werhner, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I host a radio show that's for 2 years in a row nominated for Podcast People's Choice Awards. Um, Author of a book that's been award nominated for an elite author award as well as a lot. But it all began with not such a nice story. And so to be transparent, which I host a radio show, and the more transparent the guests are, the better, where people can feel not alone and they can relate. So um, been through a lot of trauma in my earlier years, and I um, right after high school um, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I got into the University of Florida, and I was taking some summer classes at a nearby college, and before transferring to the university, and I woke up one morning. I was barely 18, and I found my mother lying on the floor. Um, she had had a brain aneurysm and never woke up. And so I saw how trauma could really derail someone off their path because I was not handling it okay. A little backstory before that. My father is a Marine, um, once a Marine, always a Marine, and his best friend was my uncle, and they were war heroes. Three Purple Hearts, first lieutenants, frontline, uh, grenade shrapnel still in his hand, couldn't open it, all the way, highly decorated, and so they're best friends, and they got deployed. And at the time, my mother was an Delta Airline stewardess back in the day when you called them stewardess, like, and she flew up to Spain to go see her brother, which is my uncle, but he had brought his best friend. And the way that I've been told, they went to go see a bullfight, and my mom and dad were so gaga over each other they missed the matador killing the bull at the bullfight. Ergo, I exist. So anyway, after that, found my mother. She never responded or woke up, and shortly after, and my family is really close. Um, my grandmother, my mother's mom, passed away about a year and a half later. I don't think she could take losing her daughter. And then my father's mother, who lived with us, my other grandma, lived with us most of my life, and passed away a year and a half later. And then my father died from Agent Orange a year and a half after that. So all through college, I had just experienced one thing after the next. Before my father died, I had said to him, I needed to talk to somebody. I needed to figure out what's going on. I was losing weight, pretty much 98 pounds, definitely anorexic, control. Like that happens a lot when someone goes through trauma, needing some sense of control or finding stability. I didn't have my appetite, pretty much an at-risk youth. So he said to me, you're not crazy. You can get through this. We've all gone through something, and you're just gonna have to find your way through it, which was my first introduction to the stigma on mental health. I have a soft spot for veterans and first responders and things like that, but also a very much a passion for ending the stigma on mental health and educating on it, because I saw that I was in dire need of help to talk to someone about what I had experienced and how I was handling it. The aftermath of how I was handling it, I was getting disappointed with myself. And even though I was getting straight A's and everything and focusing on that, just knew I was not myself. So, so that's the post-traumatic stress that I went through personally. That's led me to what I've done today. Um, and so went to the University of Florida, got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in counseling psychology, got my license, did 2 years of my residency, then licensed professional, and um, worked in correctional facilities for juveniles at risk youth for years, and wanted to help at risk youth and other people from going through what I went through without help. But the stigma was still there. People would come in, say, I'm just not crazy. I'm not crazy. I don't need to talk to a therapist, kind of deal. And I kept picking up on that tune. Shortly after that, my uncle passed away as well from Agent Orange. Um, and while he was terminal, he knew, and hospice had come in and he said, well, we would like you to talk to a clinical social worker. And he had asked me, and he's like, well, what do I tell them? And I'm like, well, knowing what I've done for years, like, tell them everything that you need to get off your chest, that you don't want to worry anyone that you love or care about, your family or anything, that you can tell someone in a confidential setting that is not allowed to tell anyone. It's confidential. He's like, that doesn't sound so bad. And you came out, and he's like, that was actually liberating. And he died shortly after. And he was kind of like a father figure for me because my parents had died before I was around the 22 age or whatever. And he died in 2013. So he was really there for me. I was close with him too. So suffered a lot of loss. I went through probably 8 or 9 counselors, therapists before I found the right one I could actually open up to and really confide in and get through that. And I've done a lot of healing. You can't practice, you have to practice what you preach, basically. I think every healthy adult should have a counselor or a therapist to talk to, because especially other professionals, I have to keep my head on straight to help others as well. Worked in correctional facilities, residential, clinical director of some heavy duty stuff, done family counseling, worked in drug rehab centers. And then fast forward, I opened up my own counseling center in 2014. And I wanted to end the stigma on people coming in saying, I feel weird. So I worked in a doctor's psychiatrist's office, and they would come in and there'd be a receptionist. They'd have to log it, like sign in and sit in this lobby. And a lot of them were ashamed or embarrassed to come seek help for just, not just, but you know, relationship problems, marital problems, counseling, couples counseling, problems with work, stress, anxiety, things that we all go through. And talking to someone about it can really help get your head on straight, you know? So, and problem solve, and I'm very solution focused. I'm the kind of therapist that someone comes in with a problem, I'm not going to just let them vent about it over and over and over again. I'm going to help them find a solution. And if they don't want to help themselves, then I'm not the right therapist for them. I can't work harder than the client. I say, like, how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is one. And I know this is cheesy, but the light bulb has to want to change. So anyway, so then I opened my own counseling center in 2014 called Safety Harbor Behavioral Health and Counseling Center. I joined at the Chamber of Commerce, and they had a big ribbon cutting. I gave a speech. There's a lot of people there, including WTA and Can Talk Radio. They heard my speech and asked if I wanted to host a psychology show. And there it goes. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. That's been on almost 7 years. A little over 6.5 or whatever you do the math.
That's your radio show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's how that started. And it's just kept growing and growing. There's a lot of room for growth and ending the stigma on mental health, you know, but I've seen it come a long way. And I'd like to say I hopefully like had a part to do with that, at least if, with a few people, Um, the show reaches about 12 million radio alone, and then it's on YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn Live and a bunch of Facebook Live, as well as I badged into 8 or 9 FM and AM radio stations at the same time.
So tell us more about your radio show. How do you have guests or how does that work?
I was gonna get in the book first too, also, but the radio show, yes. So at first, it's funny too because they wanted me to be kind of like, if you've ever seen this show Frasier, he you see some psychologist or psychiatrist standing with the microphone and people call in for advice or whatever, but it was like crickets just sitting there with a microphone and no one was calling in because nobody knew about the show. It was brand new and having to just talk. Right. I didn't know how to run a radio show. I'm just a therapist. They handed me a microphone here. And so then I started asking clients, hey, call in, call in, call in. And then it started to get me to get guests, ask guests to be on. And after almost 7 years, like, I mean, I've had celebrities, authors, advocates, musicians, people with their own stories, other professionals, Harvard professionals, doctors, other podcast hosts, people that have inspirational stories through exceptional guests that aren't willing or aren't ashamed, to tell their story and help me end the stigma on mental health, because through domestic violence and post-traumatic stress, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, you name it, across the board, someone has a story that people can actually relate to and understand, because the stigma, what I speak of, people don't understand what bipolar means or OCD or obsessive compulsive
Are you
disorder.
bipolar?
Not myself, no, but I understand it. And there's people that say I'm having a bipolar moment and they think it's just a mood swing. There's so much more to that, or I'm OCD, meaning I'm clean. No, there's a lot of other things that go into that, and I like people to understand. So by ending the stigma means educating. We can educate and inform people that just don't know, but we can't fix stupid. There's some people that just don't want to know. So that's to each their own. But so no, not bipolar. I do ADHD runs in my family, meaning attention deficit hyperactivity. So if I bounce around, it's probably why. Anxiety. That everybody has something.
Yeah.
And if they say they don't, they're lying.
Is it stressful to do a radio show live?
Is what?
Is it stressful to do a live radio show?
Well, on AM and FM radio, to be honest, it was, you can't say bad words or cuss because it's the FCC policy.
Yeah.
So like for the first year and a half, maybe I had a little bit of a stutter, like worrying about like accidentally slipping something, especially when you're.
Were you saying bad words on the air?
No, but very cautious not to.
Oh, okay.
But some of my guests did, and you would be surprised. But so I have to tell everyone, no bad words. We're on AM and FM radio, and now it's pretty easy for me not to. But when people get passionate about something, it comes out. They just do, even if they're like, I'll never cuss. Don't.
Yeah.
They
How
just
long
do.
have you done the radio show?
Almost 7 years,
Okay.
since January 2015.
Wow, that's a long run.
And it's
Congratulations.
so since COVID, so I used to just do radio, and then people would call in, and then I had Facebook Live. Things have evolved, and then COVID happened. So then I found Zoom, and then Restream and other platforms, and it airs on all sorts of virtual platforms that people can watch as well as listen on the radio at the same time. And the YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/MOC with Tiffany. Just since COVID has about 11,000 subscribers and counting, or last I looked, I guess. And that's just, I don't know, one day I would like it to be a television show where people come on live and there's an audience that has questions kind of deal. But,
Is that a big dream?
right, because the only thing that's on right now is Dr. Phil, and there's no like, that's not the kind of show I would want.
So do you enjoy doing the radio show?
I love it. It's
Do
my
you?
outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I mean,
I say you have 11,000 followers on YouTube. I'm impressed. I'm jealous.
just this year, just this year, I want more, just
Yeah,
because more that there are, that means that it's working. And we have to stick together. That's why I wanted to be on your show too. And when you asked me, like, sure, change can only come when we stand together as one.
yeah,
And I close every show with be kind to yourself and a stranger. You never know what they're going through.
that's true. That's true. So what inspired you to get into the mental health field?
Like the stigma and losing my parents and that kind of stuff. I was taking classes, I was an undecided major and didn't know what I wanted to do, and then went to the guidance counselor because junior year you have to pick a major, and she said you have enough credits to get a minor in sociology or psychology. So I took the psychology and have a minor in sociology. I was trying to probably figure out somebody, me. Um, I was an angry person. I lost my mom, suddenly. A sudden loss can really like put a hole in your heart,
Yeah,
especially when you're a teenager and a lot of loss. But done a lot of healing through that, and I feel like that was what was meant to happen so that I could fall on this path. Who knows what I would be doing if that didn't happen? Like,
so what exactly do you do as a mental health coach? Do you have clients kind of like a psychologist or something like that?
yeah, so a licensed mental health counselor is pretty much does everything a psychologist can do, and I just don't do clinical research. Um, Doctorate can teach at a university, but I taught 4 semesters at Edison State College, psychology and human growth and development. I've reached my dream regardless. To me, it could just, and I've gotten into doctorate school, but I mean, my student loan since I was taking myself on and meaning supporting myself since basically age 18. I have loans until 2032 if I ever make it that long to pay them off. Um, it's nothing that I can't do that with the doctorate you can do. And I don't want more debt, to be honest. Like, it's,
Do you see clients online or in person or both?
oh, I have my own counseling center. I do have an office and other therapists in there too. Since COVID, though, I've been doing a lot of telehealth as well,
Yeah,
mostly telehealth because um, I do have a son with a heart defect and wasn't risking it. Plus, I can see more people virtually like this, and so I work evenings to 10, 11 times, sometimes at night. And my show airs every Thursday and Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube and virtually on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope, everything like that.
okay, so you're spread all around.
In 2015, I published a book, and it's on the cover of childabuse.com. It's been nominated for 2 Author Elite Awards. Um, and it's a self-help book for adult survivors of sexual abuse and trauma and incest.
Okay,
I'm not a survivor myself, but there was so many people coming into my office with that at the same time, and I wanted to be on my A game, and there wasn't a lot of curriculum out there on that. And I just saw how hard it was for them to talk about it. So I wrote a self-help book. It's called There's a Light Within You That Never Goes Out. I haven't received a penny from it. Well, okay. I accidentally got $3 because on Amazon I'm supposed to get like 3 cents a book, and they sent me a $3 check. But I've moved like 3 times since then. So I got a $3 check. That means I sold 100 or 100 books or whatever, but it was free to download since January 2017 on Child Abuse as a must read. It was only supposed to be for a month, but there were so many people reaching out and downloading it because that's how common people are with
So
abuse.
how can people get a hold of you if they want to contact you for help?
Well, there's Psychology Today is my professional website. I don't know, you just Google Tiffany Werhner. It's kind of unfortunate it's everywhere. But you can direct message me on Instagram, MOC with Tiffany. I'm bored. Like my private practice, I see people sometimes 7 days a week. And
Do you?
yeah,
Yeah, you
I
stay
mean,
busy.
AM to 12 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. sometimes. But
Yeah.
plus the radio show, plus that, plus I help consult with the local police department for their wellness team to help end the stigma there too. Um, so yeah, keeping busy, yes, but I understand the stigma. I was taught it at an early age, but there's no shame in seeking help. There's no shame in feeling not okay. It's okay to not be okay. The way I phrase it, if we broke an arm, let's say, uh, and didn't get a cast on it, it might heal, but it would never work the same. So when we go through trauma, it actually affects our DNA in our brain, and it affects our cognition, our memory, our decision-making skills, the way we react to certain crises. It's subliminal. Fear is the hardest thing to diminish. Fear is the hardest thing to get rid of. When we've been exposed to any kind of trauma,
Yeah.
and in the back of our head, and unless you face it and cope with it, it builds anxiety. Anxiety is a learned behavior, and it's fear driven. Fear of abandonment, fear of intimacy, fear of commitment, fear of
Everything.
success, fear of failure, you name it. And the only thing greater than fear is hope. And when we change our negative onset thinking, our negative automatic thinking to positive, we can change our mindset and feel hopeful, where we believe in ourselves, where we can bet on ourselves and face a fear. And not only that, reach our full potential in life from anything holding us back, self-esteem issues, self-confidence, anything like that.
It's a big
We
deal,
do have
isn't
to
it?
bet on ourselves. And if we don't fix, it's like mind, body, spirit kind of deal. But if we don't fix our mind, it's like not casting an arm. It will work, but never quite the same and never as good. And it's just silly not to. If out of everything, I'd rather have a broken arm than a mind that isn't working to its full potential.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I've enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything else you want people to know about you or what you do?
I don't know. Please subscribe if you're suffering in silence. Subscribe, watch the show on YouTube. It's MOC with Tiffany. MOC, like my shirt. MOC
Okay.
with Tiffany.
Okay.
Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. YouTube.com/MOC with Tiffany. You can also find me at Tiffany Werhner on Facebook, MOC with Tiffany on Instagram, at MOC with Tiffany on Twitter. Direct message, easy. It's moments-of-clarity-with-tiffany.com is a website. I don't know. Try to help as much as I can.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank you
the
very much.
video show can like reach as many people. Hopefully they may through the stories of others and feeling like you're not alone. It's very powerful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being my guest, Tiffany. I appreciate it.
For having
I will let you go. And folks, thanks for tuning in to Holding On with Holder. Please subscribe to my channel and feel free to share this video all over social media. Thank you,
you.
Tiffany. Good night. Have a good week.
You too.